Let me also now introduce our guests who are joining us this evening. We have spokesperson of the BJP, Shehzad Poonawala. We'll shortly be joined by the spokesperson of the Congress Party. Arshpreet will be joining us shortly. We have TMC spokesperson Manojit Mandal. We also have senior journalist Hemant Attri. And we also have author and columnist Arun Anand. Good to have all of you on the broadcast with us to take this discussion forward. Manojit, let me begin with you first, because the opposition is up in arms once again after what we saw yesterday was anger over these expunged words. Today we're seeing anger over a circular. But what I'm trying to essentially understand is the opposition missing the larger point, which is that this is not a new practice. Circulars like these have been brought out year after year, and I started my show with circulars that date back to 2009. So what is the fury about today?
I think you gave the sequence. Look at how consistently things are happening. Look at the signs of a totalitarian government. First that tampering with the national emblem, and then the yesterday's circular cutting the voice of the parliamentarians, and now today that you can't even make an agitation, peaceful agitation, which is, I think, the best expression of any dissent, which the Mahatma, the Bapu, taught us long time back when he was fighting the Britishers. Are we still fighting the same kind of a government at this point in time, 75 years after the independence? We are, incidentally, by the way, celebrating national independence for 75 years at this point in time. That's the way you treat the opposition. So, I mean, this kind of circulars might have been issued earlier, but the point of distinction is very clear in 2009.
So you agree the fact that these circulars have been issued in the past? Then I'm trying to understand what is the anger by the opposition today? Arshpreet, if you would want to answer that, I gave you an uninterrupted minute to try and understand what is the issue as far as this circular today is concerned. Arshpreet, the expunged words also are part of a list that are issued every single year. The circulars also are part of every single year. What is the issue this time around?
See, number one, they have clearly forgotten. The BJP's model of governance is this, that they have the words used in common parlance marked as unparliamentary, words. Now, number one, this list is unparliamentary in itself. It is unconstitutional. It's ultra biased to the Constitution of India because it violates our fundamental right, which is freedom of speech and expression under Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A. Therefore, it would be challenged, and we'll make sure that, this mockery of democracy that the BJP party has begotten is done away with. Number two, in the parliament, whatever you say, whatever word you utter, you cannot be prosecuted for that. That was our model of governance because, you have representatives of 150 crore people. And if you cannot speak in the temple of democracy, where else do you speak? You have grievances, and removing words like sexual harassment. You being a woman would really understand that there are grievances, issues wherein, they have to be addressed. There are times when you do not get justice. So how do we address those issues if we cannot even utter the word sexual harassment?
Okay.
Why are you discriminating against women?
Arshpreet, you would appreciate the fact that you made your point uninterrupted. Just give me 30 seconds and then I want to bring Shehzad in. I want to bring you up to speed with certain words that have been expunged in the past, and you tell me which were the governments in power then. In 2012, the word shame was expunged. Again in 2012, the word cheating was expunged. Again in 2012, the word choot was expunged as well. And I can give you a long list. What is the difference this time around?
Yes, number one, the logic that the BJP party has been trying to incline towards is fractured, is absurd, because two wrongs anyway don't make a right. Second of all, it is very disheartening, that they have basically issued a gag order against parliamentarians. But what is heartening is that they basically know the right kind of words which describe them the best that have been added in the list so that they can mitigate the criticism. And the speed at the pace which BJP party is going at, first, they stopped doing any press conferences. Mr. Modi hasn't done any in the last 8 years. Number two, then they stopped having any debate and discussion before passing a bill. Then they, have declared this unparliamentary list, which is so unparliamentary in itself. I just hope they do not do away with the parliamentary form of government and make it a dictatorship. Number five, Mr. Modi has been using this word, and we have all seen that in a viral video. Hypocrisy ki bhi had hoti hai. So Mr. Modi has been uttering the most unparliamentary words ever. And number six,
but today the same question is being asked to the opposition also, that isn't there a sense of hypocrisy if you're blaming the government, if these lists and words have been brought out every single year in the past as well. But let me bring in Shehzad also. Shehzad, it's not just about the words, the lists or the circular. The larger sentiment today across opposition parties is that this is a government that is not open to criticism at all. They're trying to stifle every possible voice of dissent.
Ridhima, thank you. I heard patiently both the honourable gentlemen speak, and I hope they won't interrupt me in the interest of a fair debate. First of all, whom do I have to take lectures on emergency and dictatorship from? Those who imposed the emergency, banned Kishore Kumar, put sedition cases on Chhattisgarh journalists, jailed Asim Trivedi. They were the ones who got the press bill of 1988. They were the ones who got the defamation bill which was rejected. They're the ones who actually sent Kangana Ranaut and other journalists to jail, and they broke Kangana Ranaut's house. They put Ketki Chitra in jail for 1 month. They are lecturing us on emergency. Now, Ridhima, it's one fact-free and spurious allegation a day as far as the Congress party, the fact-free and fakery machinery of this country that's doing this entire thing. First, you had the national emblem. That matter was busted. Then you had this word ban list. It is not a word ban list. It is an expunged words list which has been compiled from various assemblies and put together. And it doesn't mean that those words can't be used. For instance, the word Bal Buddhi. Now, why would we put that? You know who it applies to. But you can use Bal Buddhi. Only in a certain context it has been expunged. And that doesn't mean it's automatically expunged. If tomorrow somebody was to get up in parliament and say, ye kaisi Bal Buddhiyon ki jamaat hai, जो विपक्ष के पास मुद्दे नहीं है. Thirdly, let me come to the main point of today. The circular that has been tweeted by Jairam Ramesh, and I consider Jairam Ramesh to be a mature parliamentarian. I have worked with him. I have regard for him, and I myself worked in parliament as an OSD to the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. This circular of 2009, 2014, 2021, word to word is the same that has been issued before every session of Parliament. It's not done by the government. It's done by the Parliament House Security Office. And they do it as a routine procedure because they have certain protocols. How is it Chamatkar during Congress time and Gunegar now? This is the lack of issues and bankruptcy of the opposition that they don't have cogent issues to raise in Parliament. अरे मुद्दों की ऐसी कंगाली कि रोज आरोपों की थाली और वो भी फर्जी आरोपों की. And this is the same Rahul Gandhi. By the way, he went and he said Rafale में चोरी हुई है. Supreme Court told him please go back home. They are the ones who spread fake news on vaccines. They spread fake news on surgical strikes, on Balakot, on Pulwama, and they also went back on issues like GST, which they provided, they pushed forward to. So, this has become opposition for the sake of opposition. This has become preaching of the scriptures by the Satan as far as emergency and dictatorship is concerned. And finally, please tell me, these are 29 exact same letters, words used in the circular in 2009 as has been used today. Was that dictatorship, or is it after 2014 or 2022 that's become dictatorship?
I know you want
29
to
words in that circular, 29 words here.
The BJP does not want this word to be used against them, which is Jumla GV. Now, what do we call 15 lakh rupees, which were to be given to us? What do we say about the farmers' income that had to be doubled by 2022? What do we say about the diesel petrol prices, which had to be decreased? What do we say about all the misery that you brought upon? You haven't delivered one topic. So how do we not, describe you? And let me tell you one more thing, Shehzad. The BJP party would also feel incomplete when all these words are not going to be used against you because they describe you the best, and you haven't been able to explain one thing. Why do you not want women and their miseries to be, brought to end and brought to justice? Because sexual harassment is a very important issue. How else do we talk about that? Somebody has been sexually harassed.
But that's exactly the point that's being made, that there's a difference between banned and there's a difference between expunged. The